Okay, thank you very much, Eckert and Shita. Today's the Naples Mac User Group Wednesday meeting, June the 30th, the last day of June, the last meeting until September the 1st. We want to welcome all of our members from all around the world and throughout the United States and Canada. Our Naples Mac User Group meetings are each and every Wednesday, and today is the last one, and we will resume September 1st. And the meetings are always between 11:30 a.m. and 12:45 p.m. You must be a member of Naples Mac User Group or an invited guest to attend our Zoom meetings. And that's for Zoom security purposes. We have 42 of these weekly meetings a year. We're very proud to say that we have about 15 different Mac user groups that are represented in our Naples Mac user group. And you can see here, they're from Australia, England, all over the world. And we're very proud of that. And we encourage people from other Mac user groups to try to join our group, but remain in their current group. We're very excited about our website, our new website. I hope every one of our members has visited our website. Gina Cox was the developer of the website. She lives in England. And Michael Kwasniak, board member and a member of MUG, is very instrumental in managing that website. So please take a visit to it. For example, these are our September meetings, and all that information plus everything else that's going on within our group is available on the website. I'd like to announce, I've sent out 2 notices so far that in the month of September, all 5 meetings will be open to all Mac Mac user group members from all over the world. We have communicated with their presidents and leadership, and hopefully we'll have a great turnout. And we're also inviting our members to invite a friend or friends to our meetings. And the notices that I have sent out and you will receive will tell you clearly exactly how to communicate with Eckert in reference to these meetings. We're very excited.
George, I'd like to add something on that, because this is very important. I have received several requests from our own members to get an invitation for our September meetings. And that is not necessary. All of our members will receive sometime in August an invite, a Zoom invite for our Wednesday meetings for the entire season, beginning September 1st, ending sometime in June of 2022. So you don't have to be concerned. All members will automatically receive an invitation to be able to attend all of our Wednesday meetings beginning September 1st. What we need now is the name and an affiliation of non-members whom we are inviting to join our September meetings for free. And because I use a semi-automated system to record these requests, I need in the subject field of the message just the word September and the MUG affiliation. If it's a MUG affiliation, if it is a friend of a member, just then the name of the member. I hope this is clear. I also put that briefly on our message board, but I don't want to be inundated with messages from our own members now to request invitations beginning September 1st. They will receive that sometime in August. I hope I made this clear. I'm not sure though.
Yes, please make sure that you look for the email in August for the invitation from Eckert to all of the meetings starting September 1st through the 30th of June, 2022. That invitation will come in August.
So it'll be a different hot link than the one we have been using in the past.
Yes. Okay, this is our last meeting for a couple months. We wish all of our members a enjoyable, and any guests we might have today, an enjoyable summer. Stay well, and we'll see you on September the 1st. Today's meeting, we're ending the season with a review of WWDC, the developer group from Apple's meeting. And we have with us today Mitch Bryars and Jeff Bohr, who will be doing this presentation. We welcome you guys. We appreciate this review of WWDC, and it's all yours, Mitch and Jeff.
Thank you, George. Let me share my screen. So I have one whopping slide today, just an overview of what Jeff and I are going to do. The WWDC was on January the 6th. It lasted a week, but the keynote, which was a good summary of everything, was on for a couple hours. That is still available, I believe, on Apple's website, a video of that, or via Apple TV. Jeff is going to go over the highlights of Mac OS Mojave. And then I am going to go over the highlights of iOS 15, iPad 15. I'll touch briefly on the watch. There's not much there. And briefly on the TV, again, not too much there. Public beta of all of these will be available in probably the second week of July. I know Jeff and I have both been on the regular betas since June the 6th. And it's been a little buggy, but it's been less buggy than in the past. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing, or if you can stop me sharing, and I turn it over to Jeff.
Okay, great. So Mac OS Monterey is what is going to be the next operating system from the Mac. So with Big Sur, they went from 10.5, 10.6, 10 to 11. I haven't seen an official number for Monterey yet, but that is the code name, and they're continuing their basis of California-based operating system names. So this was introduced, as Mitch said, WWDC 2021, which is the annual developers conference, which this is the second year it's been virtual. So there were no live crowds in 20 or 21, but it all was done virtually. And I think they've increased their attendance to these sessions that they do for the developers by 10 or 15 fold. There are much more people able to participate with this virtual stuff. And as we've discovered through our own group here, you've got a bigger audience when you're not confined to a single room or a conference center. So it really has been a good thing for the Apple ecosystem, I think. So one of the big things that is one of the first questions people will probably ask about a new operating system is, what are the system requirements? Is my computer going to work with this new operating system? And they have changed the requirements. These are the minimum system requirements for Mac OS Monterey. So as you can see, the oldest machine is the Mac Pro 2013 and later. Your laptops all have to be 2015 or newer. iMacs 2015 or newer. So only that original Mac Pro trash can type Mac, the cylinder one, is compatible with Mac OS Monterey. And if you have an iMac Pro, which was introduced in 2017, the $5,000 Mac, that is compatible. And the Mac Mini is 2014 and later. So if your current system does not meet these minimum requirements, you will not be able to install the new operating system when it is available, probably in September or October. So what I'm going to review is some features that Apple has announced for Monterey that are right now in a beta version. As with all beta software, these things are subject to change, and some of them may not be available now, even for beta testers. So this is one of those one of those apps and features that is not available yet, but should be in the coming months. So it's called SharePlay. So what that means is when you're in FaceTime sessions with your friends and family, they're going to add the feature that you can share your screen, including audio, an Apple TV program that you're watching, different content on your screen. You can share either web pages. So it's almost like the Zoom effect that we're doing now with sharing screen. FaceTime is going to allow that as well, where all people will be able to see it. And I'm testing the beta of Monterey now, and that feature is not available yet, but it will be available on all devices. So whether you're on an iPhone, an iPad, or a laptop or a Mac computer, SharePlay will be a feature that's cross-platform when it is available. Another feature, the new mic mode, they've put some web isolation, voice isolation features into these devices. So if you have a new M1 Mac or a new iPhone, you know, the newest iPhones, the newest iPads, they're going to have software to make the audio sound better for voices. And when you're in a FaceTime call, it will actually focus on the person that's in the grid speaking. The sound will appear to come to them from your speakers. So I don't know quite how this is going to work yet because they haven't implemented it into the beta, but that's a really neat feature. If you've got some good speakers on your device, that you'll be able to kind of hear spatially who's talking, and like they're in different parts of the room almost. Another new feature is Windows and Android devices are now going to be able to join FaceTime calls. And it is still private and encrypted. Apple's all about security, as you know. So you've got the security of FaceTime, but they don't have to have an Apple product, which before now has been the rule. So that's a neat feature of Monterey. Messages, and this is cross-platform. You'll start to see shared with you links. So if you get an email or a text message that has a link to a story in Apple News, when you review that story, when you go to Apple News, there'll be a little section at the bottom that says, this story was shared with you by George, and you can quickly access it, even though the original share came through a text message. When you go to news, it will run across the platform and tell you, here's the story that you got sent in a text message, along with the other news stories. Multiple photos and messages kind of have a neat feature. So if you send multiple photos, they come in a stack rather than individual pictures, one after the other. Some changes in Safari. The tab bar at the top has changed. So it's a little more opaque. And the color of the tab bar will actually reflect the color of the web page behind it. So it looks a lot more solid and congruent with the background. So the floating tabs kind of float there, and they still have the icons that were introduced in Big Sur. So that's a neat thing with Safari. There's another feature in Safari called tab groups. So you can organize tab groups by topic. So if you're creating bookmarks and such, this will kind of appear where your reading list would be. You'll see different groups for travel, cooking, or shopping. And you can access those tab groups across platform between multiple devices. A really neat feature that I've been enjoying with Monterey is called Focus, and this is also on iOS. So it lets you create certain rules that you can, it's almost like a do not disturb on steroids. So you can say, hey, I'm going to be eating dinner. I've got a phone call. It can check your calendar. And if you've got a calendar event, you can tell it that you don't want to be disturbed with incoming notifications during an event. And it can do it by time. So it's a really powerful do not disturb feature that will let you focus on different projects. And that's cross-platform as well. Focus will also let you send your status. So automatically, you'll have a notification at the bottom that says you're not receiving messages right now. And this does work cross-platform. Another Monterey feature on the iOS, well, for the iPad for sure, but also a feature of Monterey is called Quick Notes, where you can just instantly pull up a note and copy and paste to it or jot down an idea, and that will be available on cross-platform devices. And what will happen is if you make a quick note, you can add links to a quick note, and then the thumbnail of your note will always show up there when you go back to the link or the original source or the original song. So this hasn't been fully released yet, this feature, but it should be pretty interesting for just quick notes that you want to keep. And they also appear in your Notes app. So they will be available with regular notes, but it just really lets you pull it up quickly. If there are shared notes, there are some more features about collaboration changes. So if someone makes edits, they'll be tracked in Notes now. And you can also use hashtags with Notes, kind of like we're trying to promote with the group emails. So you can organize notes with hashtags so you can easily search for them. And you'll also have a new tab browser in Notes, like you see on the right there, that will show you different hashtags that have been created. Universal control is designed for right now the iPad and the Mac. I'm not sure if it's going to work on the phone yet. I haven't been able to find anything out about that. But what this means is if you have a keyboard and a mouse that's connected to your Mac and you set your iPad next to it, you can control the iPad with the mouse and the same keyboard as if it's an external display. So this is kind of like the handoff feature, but it's kind of automatic now. So if your iPad is there, it will automatically connect this way. So there's no setup required. You just put your devices next to each other and move your cursor back and forth. So right now, I think it's only going to work on iPads and Mac laptops and desktops. AirPlay to Mac. You'll now be able to, you used to be able to AirPlay to only your Apple TV. Now you'll be able to AirPlay to your Mac. And you can use that for audio or video AirPlay. So if you've got one of the new 24-inch iMacs with a great screen, you can AirPlay from your iPad or your phone to that as a source instead of your television. Now, this is a really neat thing that is also in iOS, and I think Mitch will touch on it. But live text in photos, if you click on a photo, you can actually select text that is in the picture and copy and paste it and look it up in Safari. So I've never seen this before, but it's amazing how it works. And it can be a photo of a menu, a photo of a street sign, and you can copy the text and paste it or look it up in Wikipedia or Safari. So that's a really neat feature. I've tested it on the iPhone, but I couldn't get it working in the beta I have of Monterey. So I don't think it's available right now for the computer, but by the time it's released, this will be, and it should be a great feature.
Yeah,
we'll be able to,
it also works on old photos as well. So if you pull up a photo that's 15 years old, it'll read all that stuff.
Yeah, any photo with words in it. Even I had it pull up a handwritten. I had a picture of a handwritten note, and it grabbed the text off of that. So it's really amazing technology that they can do this. And it works great on the iPhone and iPad right now, but I haven't seen it available in the beta, but that's what a beta is for, is testing. So we should have that soon. Another feature that's new on the Mac is shortcuts are now available on the Mac. So if you've been using the Shortcuts app on your iPhone or iPad, that's going to now transfer to your Mac, and you're going to be able to use the same shortcuts cross-platform. And that'll be an app that shows up in the dock, just like your news and pages and numbers and all that. So maps have been upgraded. So for certain cities, you'll see that maps have, so here's a little video flyby of how they're increasing the maps right now. It's in San Francisco around where Apple is. But that animation, which is really smooth and fluid, should start to be implemented around the country. So Maps has done some good graphical interface improvements. There's new transit features. So if you're in a city, Boston or New York, where there's a lot of public transit, it can show you a lot more detail on that now. And then there's also a new globe now, kind of like the old Google Earth app, that will let you kind of zoom in and look at features around the world, geographic features. And as always, Apple is all about privacy. So they've got new indicators now on the Mac that will let you see what is either using your audio or your screen. So you'll have a green button if the screen is recording. You'll have an orange button if audio is recording. Those have been on your iOS devices since iOS 12, I think. Now they're coming to the Mac. Another thing with privacy protection, email. So mail privacy protection hides your IP address, so senders can't link it to other things you're doing online. And it also prevents senders from being notified when you open an email. So that's a privacy feature for mail that's being implemented. And there's a new feature for Monterey called iCloud Plus. So what there is there's going to be, instead of all these different subscription plans for storage and stuff, they're going to have a feature called iCloud Plus, and I haven't seen a price on it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be in line with what it is now, maybe $15 or something like that. And that will sync everything that you have currently synced in iCloud. And it also includes a new thing called iCloud Private Relay, Hide My Email, and some HomeKit video support. So iCloud Private Relay is basically like a built-in VPN for your Mac. So it's a service that lets you connect to any network and browse with Safari, even in a more secure and private way. It ensures that the traffic leaving your device is encrypted and uses two separate internet relays, so no one can notify your IP address, location, or browsing history. So this is something that you prior had to use a VPN for and pay for. It's going to be included in iCloud Plus, this private relay. And that will, you've got two levels of focus that you can choose. You can say, hey, let it know my kind of city and the area I'm in. Or you can say, hey, just let it know what state I'm in. So you can tell it to either, two levels of focus as far as what is revealed about the traffic you do on the internet with cookies and such. So they give you some levels of control over that. Hide My Email is a neat feature that I've used like 20 times already. So when you're going to a new website and you want to sign up for some subscription or something, you don't have to give them your regular email address. It will make up a instant, unique email address that Apple creates that will be forwarded to your personal email. So that way, your personal email address is not out there as much. So, and that's built into Mail, Safari, and iCloud.
And Jeff, quick question.
Yes.
That will not work if you're using, for example, and I'm asking, if you're using other mail clients like a Google or, I don't know, a Yahoo, will that privacy not work with those clients?
It will work with other clients. It doesn't matter what email address you have. You don't have to have an iCloud address to do this. Mm-hmm. But it would not. It works when you're signing up for something new, and it just replaces your email address with something fake. But you still get forwarded everything, and you can go to System Preferences and see what emails it is assigned for different sites.
Okay.
So, but it does work with. I have it forwarded to my personal Jeff@jeffbohr.com, which is a a third-party domain that I own, and it works seamlessly. So you can choose when you set up, if you have multiple email accounts on your device, when you're setting up, when you're signing into a newsletter at Amazon.com or something, and it will say, do you want to create a private email? And if you say yes, you'll then have the option of choosing which email address you want it to relay to if you have multiple email addresses on your device. And you can kind of forward that to any email. And then if you get an email from this entity and you reply on it, it won't reveal your email address. It will send it from that private relay address.
Okay, that's pretty
So
good.
it's really a fascinating feature. I mean, it'd be great for someone that was just starting out with this stuff. Unfortunately for us that have had emails for years and years, the floodgates have already opened and we're getting, all kinds of junk. But for someone that was just, going into computing and was to start with this feature, it would be excellent for privacy.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Okay. Some other features with Monterey that they've announced, and again, all this is beta. So as I think I've mentioned, some of the existing features that I've already covered aren't even available on my laptop yet, which is running Monterey, but they are planned, and some of them are running on iOS on the iPad, but they're not on the computer and vice versa. But some other iPads or some other features for Monterey for the Mac, laptops, and desktops, low power mode, which is kind of something that you've had on your iPhone for a while, that will be available on your computer where it can kind of shut down checking for mail and stuff so you can get more life out of your laptop if you're traveling or something. System-wide translation. There's a easy right click and you can choose a default language. You can translate text on live photos with just a click. So this is a really neat thing. They've integrated more language support. They've done software updates. So if you have AirPods Pro or an AirPods Max and a Mac model with the M1 chip, you're going to have this dynamic sound that seems to go around you. So that's done with software updates to the devices and to your computer or iOS and to the AirPods, so that the sound has gotten phenomenally better with this new software. And another thing with Apple ID, they're now letting you create a digital legacy program. So if you have to, if you get sick and go into a coma one day, it lets you designate a surrogate that will have access to your Apple ID to manage mail and other services. So that's kind of a neat thing that they're doing that they haven't done before. And one of the really neat things about Monterey is when you used to have to erase a Mac, you would have to, restart it in recovery mode, go to disk utility, erase the disk, reinstall the operating system. There's now a new feature in the system preferences menu that when you click on the system preferences menu, is shown here, there's an erase all content and settings. And all user content, all user installed apps, and puts the computer back to the way it was when it came out of the box with just one click. So I just recently did that on I just sold my 2019 16-inch MacBook, and I have a new M1 MacBook on the way, and I had the Monterey installed on the old laptop, but this feature made it very simple to erase it. And it took about 5 minutes because it just got rid of all my personal content and all the apps I'd installed, put it back to the original operating system without having to go through disk utility and erase. It's a lot more time, productive to do it this way. So that's a nice feature. And that is the end of the Monterey update section so far. Any questions or?
Yes, you do have questions, and I'm going to get to them in order. So here are the floodgates. Barbara, can you please, can we put Jeff's slide? Jeff, put your slides back up.
Okay, let me go back to.
Barbara?
Yes. Hi,
You are the first questioner.
Jeff. I had a question. I think it was the the fifth slide, you were talking about, it was, I believe, between messages and tab groups. And it went by kind of fast, and I just wondered what that was, and if you would say a few more words about it.
Okay, yeah, so that was about Safari has a new tab bar across the top. And then tab groups are ways to kind of bookmark tabs as it's almost a new way of creating bookmarks for open tabs that you weren't able to group before without creating folders in your bookmarks and such.
Yeah, Jeff, it's Mitch. I'm going to demo that on the iPad, and it's identical on the iPad.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Don Peacock, can you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, the thing about signing up for a newsletter and it creates an email address, do you have to be using Safari for that?
No, it works on the iPhone. Well, yes. You have to be, I think that's a Safari unique feature. I don't know if it is integrated into other browsers yet, but for as far as I know now, that is dependent on Safari on any of your devices.
Thank you.
Yes, so it says hide my email is built into Mail, Safari, and iCloud preferences. So you could go into your system preferences and go into iCloud and generate an address, copy and paste it into another browser.
Right.
But it integrates better into Safari, and Safari will suggest it. Google Chrome would not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, are there any other questions for Jeff before we continue?
Jeff, that's Mitch. Did you get a chance to do some research on carbon copy cloner?
From what I found was there was no date yet, but they're working on it. That's all I could find. They didn't have anything except they're working on Monterey.
Okay, so I just wanted to mention that. So anybody thinking about going on the public beta in mid-July, right now, Carbon Copy Cloner is not compatible with Monterey, and the other one, what's the other one people use?
Super duper.
Super duper.
Super duper. They probably won't be compatible for a year based on their past experience with.
Oh, Mitch, don't say that.
They weren't very good last year.
It had nothing to do with them. It was all Apple's internal workings that stopped both of those from being able to do a bootable backup.
Well, I know that Carbon Copy Cloner got it done a lot quicker.
They did.
But anyhow, I just wanted to warn people that, if you're counting on a bootable backup, it might not be available in mid-July if you're thinking about the beta program.
Are they saying what is the reason? Because now Apple opened up the gates so that both of those companies could make bootable backups with Big Sur. Are they saying what the issue is now?
No, they're just working on it. It's not compatible right now, and they're not. All they're saying is Jeff.
Yeah, they're just saying that they're more info will be available soon about Monterey.
Okay.
So they've got to make some changes to the software. I don't think a lot of the file structure changed from Big Sur to Monterey as far as the containers for the data go, but I think they've still got to adjust their software to work perfectly before they release it to the public. So I think it'll be pretty close since Super Duper got their stuff in order. I think Carbon Copy Cloner and Super Duper will both have Monterey versions available soon, if not after the launch of Monterey, if not before. So I think that this will be an easier transition for them than the last one was. So right. I think they'll both be able to release something about the same time this year.
Okay, great. All right, Mitch, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so this says how to tell time in English. So if I tap that.
Hello.
All right, hold on, Mitch. Stay right there.
You see how I'm selecting that text?
Yes.
and you can just click on something and drag over it, and you can say, translate, speak, share, look up, copy, and paste it. So this is just a photo, and you can tap and click on any text. It's pretty amazing. So that's part of that feature that's not available on Monterey yet, but it will be available when the everything's released. So, and sometimes it'll either see, it even captures these signatures at the bottom.
It's pretty cool.
And if I hit share, I can do a message. And it didn't get the names quite right, but that was from script. So it's pretty amazing technology, I think.
So I was saying that the software for iOS 15 is very compatible going back on the iPads and on the phones, is the same as last year. It goes way, way back. So everything is going to be compatible going back to older devices. Let me switch this. That's when it crashed. Am I still there?
You're still here.
Okay, and this is the compatibility one for the iPhones. So you can see it goes back to iPhone 6s and forward. So let me go on. One of the big changes that they should have done last year, that's what about every reviewer says, is they've added the widgets now to the iPad. And they've done a really great job with that. And I wanted to just mention, I'll just mention this, there are 5 new widgets that they've added to the list. And let me see, I've got them listed here. Hold on a minute. The 5 new are the App Store, Find My, Game Center, Mail, and Contacts. So those are new widgets available on the iPad. On the iPhone, they have added one additional one, which is sleep mode. So they've added a few more widgets to choose from. I'm not going to go over each of those, but I do want to stop here. You still with me?
Still here.
Okay. And I wanted to demo some of these features. So, okay. Oh, they also did away with the today list. So it's now like the phone. You have widgets over to the side there. Okay, those are all widgets. And then this is my home screen. Here's widgets that I have on the home. And here are the 5 new ones. You notice my pretty wife up in the left-hand corner, that is Find My. Then there's the game one next to that. And then next to that is, looks like another one with the game, but.
Looks like the App Store.
Oh, that's the App Store. Yes, the App Store. And the next one to that is the App Library, maybe. And then the inbox for mail is below. Okay. I don't have the one here for sleep. It's on the phone. So these are really nice. You can put them anywhere. You can move them around. If you hold, if you hold down on here, it goes in, and here you can add more. You can change the size. It's just like the phone. Or you can also, if you hold down, you can move them around. Okay, like that. So this is a really nice addition, just like the phone. And if you go over to the end, here's the end. And this is a lot nicer than the phone because it's bigger real estate. And when you pull one of these up, you know, it's a lot easier to see all the apps that are categorized in that category. Can't change the categories, no improvement there. It's Apple's predetermined categories.
Can you add categories?
No,
Okay,
no, they're predefined by, if you add something and it happens to be a category that they're not using yet, yeah, you can. Here's the app library where you can, you know, it's an alphabetical listing where you can search for apps, just like on the phone. Now, the one really nice thing that a couple nice things is that they have put the app library at the end in the bottom right-hand corner of the dock. So I'm going to touch on that right there. See that?
yes,
Okay. And it's on every page. So if I go over here, there it is. And that's sort of nice. That is there is an area in settings where if you don't want that, you can turn it off. Okay. Now, the other thing that's really nice is if you hold down to edit and hold on the pages here, you can move these around now, and you can do this on the phone. So I can say, okay, this is the one that I want now as my home page. So now I go up here and I'm done. And now my home page is right there. And this was my home page. So you can move those all around. Go down here and move that one back because I don't want that as my home page. And then you can also, I can uncheck that. You can, they're like the, now the other thing that you can do, if you see the negative sign in the top.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me just see what, so like this one right here, the one right below the big, you see the big black, well, you see right in the middle of the screen right now, it has two items in
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Okay, if you hit the minus sign, I'm going to remove that page. And now the apps that were on that page would go in the library. They're in the library anyhow, but that's where they would be. But the page is gone. You'd have to recreate it to get it back. So that's new too. And that's also available on the phone. Okay, so really nice enhancements on this. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to go over while I'm here, let me go back to my, I want to go over Safari because Safari has changed significantly and I really like it on the iPad. It's identical as far as I can tell on Mojave. Is it Mojave? What did Jeff review? Was it Mojave?
Monterey.
Monterey. I always get the name like that. Monterey. It's identical on Monterey as far as I can see from the material I reviewed. So I'm going to go into Safari. Okay, and whoops, I'm going to go into, yeah, that's Safari. Okay. This happens to be our website, and this is the posting that I put out there if people are interested in that. Okay, but notice at the top, the bar, there are four websites opened. The one in the middle is ours. One on the right is this one. Okay, and you can just, I can go over here. This is Amazon. This is some stuff on the Apple website. Now, but the interesting thing is the way you refresh now is by pulling down. So you pull down and that refreshes the site. You don't have to go up and do anything at the top. Now, some people said, well, they might not like that because if they're, way down, five pages down on a website and they want to refresh it, when you pull down, you got to be at the top to do that. But they might have this is all beta stuff that we're showing. So it could be some of this stuff will change. But when you pull up this sidebar, it's completely redesigned and it's really nice. They allow you to categorize things in groups. So I have 4 tabs that are open. We saw those 4. They're right here at the top that I went over. Now, there's a privacy mode. I can turn that on. And then I set up 2 other ones because you can set these up by just, if I hit this plus up at the top, I can enter a new tab group, okay, if I want to. And that's real easy to do. You just enter it and do a name. So here's a test one that I set up, and I'm going to hit that. Now, all of a sudden, here's what's in my test group. There are 3 sites. One of them is is about Apple iPhone 13 rumors. Here is one on the Apple TV beta. And here's one on shopping. Incidentally, this is the hub I found that works, Sheeta. And there weren't many out there that were power hubs that would do what I wanted. But anyhow, that's a different subject. So I have this group, and if I take out Amazon, the group goes down to just those 2. Okay. Now, then I set up a starter group. Now, in my starter group, I have a login page for Schwab. I have a login page for Merrill Lynch. I have Bitcom live, and this is the price. And again, to refresh that, just pull down, but this is live. It just keeps on going. And then here's again Amazon. So you still have bookmarks below, over again on the right toward the bottom. The last 3 items: bookmarks, reading list, and history. They're all still there. So this is a complete change, and I like it, and I've really gotten used to it quickly on the iPad. And but it's different on the phone, and I'll show that whenever I get to the phone. So any questions on that?
When you create those tabs, does that automatically sync the same way to Safari on your computer?
Yes, it does. It syncs across all devices.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions regarding that for Mitch? Anyone? All right, then proceed.
Oh, one more thing, since it's up here, somebody was asking about this. If you get the new Apple TV remote, they are already on Amazon selling cases for it. Well, let me go back. Here's a picture of it in the blue there. There aren't many available, but so you have to really search to get the right one that'll fit that new remote, but they are out there, and I have 2 or 3 of them, and they work nicely.
Okay. Karen, do you have a question?
I do. Mitch, when you pull up your screens for your app library, and then not the app library that's alphabetical, but the screens, do they correspond to the way the app library, Apple has designated the different categories? Does that automatically correspond to what
That's
you have?
automatic. It's the same as on the phone. They're identical. It's just much easier to read on the phone.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah, does that answer it?
So, is that how, right
these
here? Yeah.
These are identical on the phone. let me just make sure I'm not, well, I don't want to get in my phone right now because it can cause some problems with the Zoom. So, but yeah, these are identical. And again, if you see one that like suggests that only has 4, so if I hit that, those you just hit on each one you want to bring up. But if you get one like on the recently added, and you see it has 1, 2, 3 big ones, and then then there's 4 in a group. You hit that 4 in a group, and then I'll show you everything that's in that folder.
Okay.
And Apple determines these.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have no control over that.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank
Jim
you.
Jim Corsica, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, Mitch.
Hi, Jim.
I like the addition of the app library on the iPad, but I have a question, and this may be a stylistic choice. As you're sweeping across your iPad, what you're calling pages, I don't know, I choose to have a single home page with multiple folders on them. What's the difference between the two? I guess I'm asking, do your pages have a unifying principle, or are they just one long stream of apps?
It's if you're referring to like, here's my home page, and then here's the second page,
Right,
and here's the
right.
third,
Yeah.
and then here's what you probably have for everything. It's a personal preference. I group things. I tend to put things in these folders. These are self-created, and the ones that I have outside of the folder are ones that I use more often. I know where they're at, and I just like to see them.
I see.
So
I
it's just
see.
a personal
And so you create I couldn't tell, were they in alphabetical order?
These are, I put them in alphabetical order.
Okay. Can you do that by page?
By page.
Yeah, I guess I'm saying, can you put the apps in okay, do you have to put the apps in alphabetical order globally for all of your apps, or you can do it in individual pages?
You can do it in individual pages. So I'm on my home page right now. If I
Okay.
want to put, if I want to put everything in alphabetic order, I have to do it manually on this page. I tend to not do that. I tend to, and this is a little jumbled up because I've got all these widgets at the top that I normally don't have on here. But fact is, I could get rid of some of these. It might not remove. Yep. Remove. Yep. Remove. Yep. Remove. No, I don't want to remove that one. Cancel. Remove this one. Yep. Remove this one. Yep. And now what it did is it brought in some of these that I had over there.
I see, yeah.
But I tend to put them in the order of things that I use. So in other words, like Dropbox and OneDrive and Scanner Pro are all together because I tend to use those together.
Okay.
And files is together. So it's my personal preference as to where they're at. And they're sort of jumbled right now because I've been playing with this thing for this presentation.
Great.
Okay,
just a side comment. I have one of those Apple TV remote covers for the new Apple TV. It's pretty nice. It's about $8.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go. I'm way behind, so let me go on. Notifications. There's a new setting in notifications. And if you go into settings, you'll see it. It's time sensitive, and you can turn that on. And for certain notifications, so this one happens to be for messages. Only certain ones allow you to be time sensitive. I think messages and maybe mail. I'm not sure, but I know messages you can set it as time sensitive, so they will come up more prominently than normal. Here's a picture of my wife and and I brought this up because on the phone, now I don't know if this is going to be available. It doesn't work on the iPad yet. I don't know if it will, but on the phone, you can swipe up now and get very detailed information on the photo. And this is completely new and it's nice. It tells about the camera, it tells about the exposure and all that business. But one of the great things that it has in here that I stumbled on by accident, and I'm surprised it wasn't in one of these big reviews that I did, is you can now adjust the date of the photo on the iPhone, and it syncs to all your devices. So I had a lot of photos that I had scanned in, and I had to go in and change the dates to, 1953 or whatever. Now, and I used to have to do that on the computer. Now you can do that actually on the iPhone by just swiping up. That is a really nice feature. The other nice feature is that it'll recognize, if I've got it on here, let me just see. Yeah, here was the feature that that Jeff mentioned on live text, and that's a setting that you can set that up on the camera, in the camera settings, and once that's set up, when you go to a photo, you'll see it, and you can pull up the live text. And the way you get it is this right at the bottom of this photo in the right-hand corner. You see that funny looking square down there? That's the live text thing. And this is new too. So I pulled up a picture of the dog, and there was a dot right in the, if you held down on his picture, a dot appeared and it indicated it was a dog, and it actually came up and it said, these are the possible breeds. I tried it on flowers and it wasn't as accurate on determining what flower was what, but it did work. I mean, it brought up flowers, it just wasn't the right name. That's also new. You still with me?
Still here.
Okay, good. Then, the wallet. I should mention the wallet. They now have a new setting for expired passes. So if you have some passes, whether they're transit passes or whether they're old, I don't think you can get them anymore, but old Apple cards that you would have in there that you could use at the store, and now they have a zero balance and you haven't deleted it yet. If it's under, if you have this expired passes on, they'll be hidden and they'll be under expired passes. That's new. The other thing that's coming to the wallet is later this year, it's not available yet. You're going to be able to scan your driver's license into your wallet, and they're working with TSA and with various, all the states, and everyone's different, to get that universally approved everywhere in the United States. Now, I think that'll take a few years to do, but because every state's different, but it's coming. It's going to start to be rolled out this fall, and I think that it will really be nice. Another thing that a lot of people have been waiting for is custom email domain. The domains are going to be, you'll be able to personalize those and use those as your iCloud mail address with custom domain names, and invite family members to use that domain name as well, if you'd like to, with your iCloud mail account. That's not available yet, but it's coming this fall. And I think that, I know a lot of people, I know a few people, friends of mine have been waiting for that. I'm sure some, yes.
Is that going to be included in your account, do you think, or you have to pay for that?
No, I think it's going to be included. It's going to be,
All right.
If you want, the only thing that you're gonna have to pay for is if you don't have it, if you have, like you probably have a domain right now and a mail right now, so you just be able to change that to your iCloud mail address if you want to.
All right, thank you.
Also, worthy of note for some people, some people have problems when they get a new phone or a new iPad because it requires more iCloud storage temporarily to set up the new phone, and they're sort of at their limit. So Apple's solution to this is for a 3-month or 3-week time period from when you get your new device, they will automatically temporarily expand your iCloud storage to accommodate any shortcomings that you might have in getting your data and getting your new phone or iPad set up. That's a nice touch. Okay. Why did I pull this up? Well, I want to pull this up. This is a neat little feature too that they've added in photos. Photos. No, not photos, mail. Okay. Come on, mail. Here we go, mail. So it'll show you your last mails that were open at the bottom in this shelf area now. And if you just touch the screen, that goes away. And to bring it back, you just touch this again and it comes back. So I happen to have had this one open, and it's the one I wanted to show. And this was an email that was sent to me by some friends who just went to Alaska. And if I hold down on the photo, well, okay, here, now I'm gonna have to go to it a different way. Here it is. If I hold down on the photo, yeah, this comes up. And the new thing is, you see about 4 or 5 things down, it says save 6 images. There were 6 images in this, 6 photos in this email, and you can save all of them just by 1 click. And that's new and nice and a very welcome change. So I wanted to show that. Let me see if there's, oh, the other thing is when you start up, this is my iPad this morning, and I was using one of these focus things, which I'm going to show in a minute. They have these this new focus area in notifications, which Jeff talked about a little bit. And it's like notifications on steroids. And it shows a little guy running there. I was actually riding my bike this morning, and I have one set up. So when I'm exercising, it automatically goes on and limits notifications that I receive the way I've set it up. And it shows then this little guy indicating that it's on when I open my iPad or when I open my phone, or there's a little symbol on the watch as well. Also, right below that, it's got this private relay is activated, your IP address is hidden, and your Safari browsing activity is protected. So that's an answer to somebody's question about privacy and does it extend to other browsers. It does not. It's something that's unique to the Safari. Okay, so we go to the next picture. This one, oh, this is iCloud storage. So if you go to your phone and you go to iCloud, there at the top in settings, where your picture is, they've moved things around. And so it used to be that iCloud backup and keychain were at the bottom, and rightfully so. They were pretty important, so they moved them to the top of the list. Then you notice that this private relay is on. And then hide your mail is that you can turn that on right there, and that would that protects your mail from people seeing it and seeing that you've opened the mail or anything else. And so those are welcome privacy changes. And when you go to turn off that privacy relay, you get this thing that scares you to death. It says, this is hiding your IP address in Safari browsing. And if you turn this off, everybody's going to be able to see everything you've been doing, which they've been able to see for years. But they give you a pretty big warning about turning it off. Okay, yeah, here's the warning right here. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so here are the hidden email addresses, and it automatically populated a lot of them for me for these sites. So if I start sending something to Adobe, it's going to use this email and it'll direct it. I have mine directed to my iCloud email account. Okay, this is, Jeff touched on this, and this is the FaceTime. And FaceTime has been completely redesigned. And a couple things, I'm not going to go into in detail. It's not working yet very well in the betas, but you'll be able to see all the people together like this. And as Jeff mentioned, when somebody's speaking, that part of your phone or your iPad will, the sound, you'll be able to think that you're hearing that person. In other words, this gal at the top, she's highlighted, and the sound would, from your phone, from your iPad, would appear to be coming right from her, which is a nice touch. I don't know how they do that. Then also, you'll be able to share music and Apple TV videos with everybody simultaneously. So if you want to watch an episode of Mystic Quest, everybody will be synced and you can all watch it together, no matter where you're at. A nice touch, and I'm not going to go into any more on that. Here's what it looks like on the iPhone. I'm going to skip over that, and I believe that is all I have for. Oh, there's a couple more minor things.
You have 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes, Mitch.
I know. I'm running out of time. So I didn't get to the. I didn't get to the phone, and I'm not going to because I got to sign out and sign back in. The only thing I'll tell you on the phone that I don't like, that's hard to get used to, is the Safari tabs are at the bottom of the page, and they work. They're the same functions that are there as they are on the iPad and on the computer, but they're not as intuitive, and you have to push buttons like to get up your favorites and to get up the start menu that I set up. It all syncs across devices, but it's not as user friendly. A lot of people have complained about it, and then on the other hand, a lot of reviewers just think it's great. But I've been working on getting used to it, and it is very different. And you can see that in those videos that I posted. The nice thing about the 3 that I posted is if you hit at the bottom of them, hit the down arrow on the bottom of them, it gives a listing with a timestamp of where everything is, and you just hit on that and can go to that part of the video. So wanted to mention that. And what I wanted to mention on the, I haven't set up an alarm, but I'll add an alarm. So on the alarm, here's, setting up the time. But if you go like, if you touch on it, the pad comes up and you can set it that way. So now you can set it both ways. So if I set one for 1 o'clock, say, and now it's there. Now, if I want to change this, I hold my finger on it and this comes up. But if I want the other one to come up, I hold my finger on it and the pad comes up. So you can do it both ways. And that's about all I have time for, other than a question or two.
All right, do we have any questions? It does not look like we have any questions.
Okay, well, I touched on as many of the big items as I could, but I can tell you that there are changes everywhere. And and a lot of things they did are very impressive and very well thought out.
Great.
So
All
with
right.
that,
right.
everybody have a great summer. I'm going to stop sharing.
All right. Jeff, do you have anything else to add?
Oh, no, just that I posted to the group a little more information about how that private domain feature will work. And it is a feature that will, it doesn't delete or modify your existing email address, but when possible, you'll be able to create the example they gave was if your email is johnnyAppleseed@icloud.com, you could use johnny@appleseed.com. But I don't know if that depends on domain availability, which I think it would. So those features haven't been given out yet, but I don't think anybody else could claim, justbohr.com because I already own it. But if there's a domain available, I think that would be what it's contingent on. So we'll know more about that as this develops.
All right,
Yeah,
so I have a question about that. So let's say joeblow.com. If that domain is not registered to anyone and you automatically, or you get this according to Apple, is that domain then off the board for anybody else trying to register it anywhere else?
They haven't noted that yet, but I don't think so. I think it's more of a temporary type masking thing. But I think if someone else bought joeblow.com, that functionality would cease because I can't see how they could.
Right.
Right.
You'd have a hot mess going on.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
example they gave wasn't very practical because appleseed.com is probably taken, but there'll be more announced about that, I'm sure, as time goes on and this progresses.
Yeah,
Okay,
my
great.
understanding is you have to own the domain, and I do own a domain, and
Okay.
if you go out there and search for one and you want it, and what you'll find on GoDaddy, or what was the site that you use, Jeff?
I use Hover, HOVER.com.
Yeah, Hover.
For
And
domain.
you search and it says it's not available, then you won't be able to use it. If it's available, you have to buy it.
Okay, great. Good to know. All right, thank you. And George, all yours.
Okay, thank you very, very much. And why doesn't everybody's unmuted? So let's give some applause and thanks to Mitch and Jeff for a great meeting and a great send off
Thanks, guys.
until September.
Thank you.
Great summer.
And a great season.
Thank you. Have a good summer, everyone.
And thank you, George.
Have a great summer, and thank you.